Techniques of male manipulation. In this video, we will discuss the techniques that men use in relationships to manipulate women. Sometimes manipulations can be conscious, sometimes unconscious, but they often occur in relationships. So, let's get started. What manipulations can occur in relationships? The first of them is the push-pull technique. Why does a man use this technique? To keep a woman in tension. When she is in tension, she focuses only on the man. She fears losing him and does not understand what is happening in their relationship. She is constantly mentally with this man. And of course, such a woman is easy to control. She is easy to keep close, meaning she is not a risk. And there is no need to make any gestures or do anything nice for her. She is already ready to be by his side at all times. So what does this technique do? That is, a man first gets close, does something nice, perhaps even a wonderful gesture, courts her, and then pulls away, disappears for a while, goes missing for a while, either simply doesn't answer the phone or is cold and doesn't engage in conversation. In the next meeting, he no longer courts her as much. He allows her to be happy that he is close to her and then distances himself again. And these techniques can go on for a very long time, leaving the woman completely under the control of such a man. The man keeps her on a hook. Next, humiliation. Here, the man uses a tactic of destroying self-esteem, which means minimal attention, maximum humiliation, maximum comparison with others, and maximum blows to self-esteem. For example, he might say that you cook poorly, that you are unattractive, that your hair looks bad, that your manicure is poorly done, and so on, comparing you to others by saying their hair is nicer, their figure is better, and so forth. Why is this done? It is done to make it easier to control a woman again. If her self-esteem is destroyed and her belief in herself is undermined, then she becomes easily manageable. And what happens at that moment? The woman is destroyed from within. She stops believing in herself. She actually begins to think that she is so worthless that she is incredibly lucky to have the man beside her, and now she tries hard. She deserves love, but she fears that such a man will leave her before she realizes that it is all manipulation and that everything the man says is not really about her, but rather a way to keep her close. Furthermore, there is the pressure of sympathy, another manipulation that men resort to, especially gigolos who rely on a woman's support. Here he tells such heart-wrenching stories, such plots, that it makes your blood run cold. You feel sorry for him, you want to help, and often very empathetic women fall for the bait of such manipulators. A woman who can listen with her soul, hears him and feels sorry for him. She wants to save him, to help him in some way, to ease his life. And as soon as a woman falls for these manipulations, the appeal of playing on sympathy, the manipulator finds it interesting to be with her because she helps him, she saves him, and he gets what he needs from her. If a woman does not fall for this hook, then such a woman is not interesting to him. Next, manipulation through guilt or resentment. A manipulator who plays on feelings of guilt within the family is at the very top. Everyone around this manipulator revolves around him, trying somehow to earn his approval, to do something nice, to do something good, just to avoid feeling that guilt. Because the manipulator skillfully plays on the emotions of close people, on the feelings of his wife, on the feelings of his children, saying, "You acted this way and that way. I was very upset. I felt so bad. You did this and that, and I suffered greatly." And no matter what is done, it all causes some suffering. It evokes certain feelings, and each of the household members feels that they are to blame. And everyone starts to deserve forgiveness from this manipulator, meaning they do something good for him. For a while, the manipulator is indeed on top, meaning that everyone, so to speak, serves him, trying to please him. However, at some point, everyone who succumbs to this feeling of guilt begins to feel aggression towards the one who evokes this feeling of guilt, because a person cannot remain in this state of being guilty for long. Initially, the aggression may be hidden, but then it can escalate into various forms. That is why a person may indeed feel even more guilt towards the manipulator. That is, first there is pity, shame, shame, shame. Then the person feels aggression towards the manipulator and again feels ashamed for what they are experiencing. He tries even harder, but at some point this manipulation can simply destroy the relationship. Moving on. Manipulation through anger and conflict. There are people for whom conflict is simply necessary. Conflict can arise out of nowhere. Why does this happen? To gain a response, as if to recharge. There are people who need to engage in conflict in order to feel good, let's say, as if they are being fueled. So the most important thing here is not to engage in that conflict. That is, a conflict begins, shouting starts. Do not shout back. Do not give the person what they want to get from you. Go to another room or leave altogether. For example, exit the apartment, or if you are outside, walk in the other direction. When you do this a certain number of times, the person who is trying to create conflict will realize that it doesn't work with you, meaning that this manipulation is ineffective. As a result, they will look for other ways to interact with you, but they will no longer use this manipulation. Manipulation through silence. This is a very common form of manipulation. When a person gets what they want through silence, without discussing the problem, without addressing the situation, without expressing their feelings, the person simply goes silent, and this manipulation is actually very difficult. It is hard to endure, and sometimes a woman, for example, may not realize what her man is silent about, but it is difficult to endure this silence, and she wants to close her eyes to certain problems, wanting to let the situation go. She might think, well, it's not a big deal, but the issues remain unresolved, and the person who manipulates through silence ends up getting their way. The problem seems to be hidden under the rug. The woman pretends that she has forgiven and forgotten, that it no longer matters to her. However, the situation is not resolved, and often such manipulations can lead to the relationship breaking down at some point. Further, manipulations with love, you love me, and so on. That is, when a man manipulating feelings wants to achieve something from a woman. What does love mean? Love is the feelings we have for each other. But that doesn't mean that if I love you, I have to do things I don't want to do just because you want them. Resorting to manipulation through love is the use of a person for one's own interests, using the term love in such a way. When a person truly and genuinely loves sincerely, they do not try to take something through the manipulation of another person. Often, those who love sincerely try to give something, but people who resort to manipulation simply want to gain something in some form. Next, manipulation through hope. Here, the desire for immediate gain is evident using some long-term prospects. Well, for example, we all watched the fairy tale about Buratino, when Buratino buried his coins in the field of fools and thought that something would grow there and he would become rich in the future. But Cat Basilio wanted to get rich, let's say, in the moment. This is what manipulation through hope looks like when a man, for example, wants to take advantage of a woman and promises her some golden mountains in the future. And here it is very important to trust the facts, not to trust words, and not to trust some cloudless visions of the future. If a man talks a lot but does nothing and paints you a picture of a cloudless future ahead, then he is likely not going to be there. If a man is doing something and expressing certain moments, it means that everything is fine here. But if you realize that nothing is happening, nothing is changing, and you are constantly being shown something in the future, it means that you might just be used. Next, manipulation through vanity. Many also resort to this manipulation. For example, no one can do it better than you. You cook better. You clean better. I can't do it like you do. And so on. It flatters a woman a little that she is so truly skillful and capable, able to do everything. Hammer a nail, hang a picture, cook dinner, clean up, raise children, help them with their homework, and earn money. She can do everything, so beautiful, but everything that relies on manipulation does not last long. At some point, the woman begins to realize that she has taken everything upon herself, while there is a person next to her who is simply manipulating her. And irony and sarcasm. When again, a man, for example, wants to undermine a woman's self-esteem and speaks to her in such an ironic tone, that is, he constantly makes fun of her. She will say something, some phrase, and he jokes, for example, with a hint that she is foolish and that she shouldn't express her opinion. And she will do something, and he again undermines her self-esteem with irony and sarcasm. At some point, it seems that irony and sarcasm can lead a person to feel very insecure, to be afraid to talk about something, to express themselves in this world, because there are mockeries, because there is a critic nearby who is always dissatisfied. That's all for this video. It was me, Alisa. I hope for your likes and subscriptions. Please write in the comments what you would like to discuss in my new videos. Don't forget to hit the bell icon, and goodbye everyone.